You know, I saw this article the other day about a data miner talking about the Persona 3 remake, and kind of caught my attention. It made me think that, yes, I was oh so disappointed we didn't get a reveal at the PlayStation Showcase, but if my memory serves me correctly, the last time we had a reveal for an Atlus game, it was with bringing them to consoles, and that was at an Xbox event. So it kind of makes sense. And I got reading. They talked about that clip, you know, the clip with, I think it's Yukari with a bow or something, and she's shooting one of the demons in what looks like Tartarus. And I kind of started to brainstorm, and I thought, you know, what exactly can we actually anticipate from a remake? Because there's a big difference between a remake and a remaster, in my eyes. And, you know, I got thinking. And I guess the very first thing you have to consider is it's going to be a new engine, as in it's not going to be the Persona 3 engine. So it's going to be probably the Persona 5 engine, which I believe is called the proprietary engine. I'm not sure if that's actually the name, but from what I can remember, Atlus doesn't... Nobody else uses it. Like, it's built in-house, but they haven't... It's like one of these... It's like a secret or something. And I could be wrong about that, but I tried looking for info around it, and I couldn't find much. So I know it's what they've been using since P5, which makes sense, because this screenshot looks a lot like Persona 5 battle system. So I think it's kind of safe to assume that it's like a guarantee, I think, that we can expect them to be using the same engine, is what I'm saying. And then I got thinking about some of the other gameplay mechanics, and I wonder if they're going to change the battle system, because, you know, the battle system for P3 Fez, you know, on the PS2, is kind of, it's not bare bones in a way, but I wonder if they're going to incorporate some quality of life stuff. Like, there's one Moors, obviously, but are they going to include baton passing? Like, I'm not sure how much streamlined, I guess you could say. Like, I feel like they're almost trying to make it so that if you play P5, if P5 is your first game, like P5 Royal, that P3 is going to be a super easy game to get into, the remake, I mean. I don't know if they're going to go down that route, or if they're going to just stick to vanilla itself and keep most of the basic functions and stuff. Most of the basic gameplay mechanics, which I think is entirely possible, by the way. So I thought about baton passing, and I also thought about the melee options, because, you know, swords, like pierce damage, they got rid of pierce damage in Persona 4, slash damage, what's the other one? It's not blunt damage, there's another one. There's pierce, slash, and another one. And they got rid of those completely in Persona 4 and Persona 5, so I'm not sure if they're just gonna kind of like toss those out the window. I think it's entirely, I mean, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if they're trying to streamline it. But hopefully, even if they do streamline it, I hope at least they... Like, okay, I hope they let you keep the same weapon variety. Like, I really like using the bow, and I like using the spear when I played Fez. And the fact they got rid of that in 3, in Portable, was like... It was strange. It was a strange decision, so I'm almost anticipating the fact that you're not going to be able to use the same weapons that you could in Fez. You know, I think that's entirely believable, unfortunately. And then I started to consider, is the Velvet Room going to change that much? Because, you know, if you look at the fusion options between 3 and 5, you know, 5 has a lot of stuff. A lot more features, like, you know, I believe Strengthen is one of them. And there's some other ones too. And I'm just curious. I'm curious how much is going to overlap, I guess. That's like the whole point of this video. Because my theory is that a lot of the features from 5 are going to just be, like I said, streamlined into 3. And it's all conjecture, it's all theory, it's all... Well, you don't really know. No, I don't. But I can infer based on what we can expect. So... You know, but stuff like strengthening, hopefully choosing skills so you don't have to do that same bullshit. I feel like that's a guarantee because they kind of... I think they fixed that in Portable, right? Actually, maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't fix that in Portable. Anyway, so when you're fusing, you actually are able to choose the skills you want instead of just playing the fucking guessing game. Hopefully that's something to expect too. And it sort of is gameplay, but this is a bit of a... it's not iffy, but I don't have high expectations, you could say. I wonder if they're gonna let you do same-sex romance options. Just gonna throw it out there. Like, I think it's a very, very low chance. Super low chance, actually. But, you know, if you're playing as MC, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening, but it's still something I'm asking myself, because it's always good to wonder if Atlus is kind of gonna make that pivot, or at least introduce something. It's not so much... yeah, I'm not gonna get into this so much, but it's not so much it's not that much like a Japanese thing, because, for example, Fire Emblem, 3 Houses, and the new one, but the new one is a little bit more modern. But 3 Houses, you could romance. There were same-sex romances, 100% there were. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I know for a fact there were. So that's something to consider. But more importantly, this kind of ties... still trying to think about gameplay right now. So we got the new engine, got the baton passing potential, got the more Velvet Room fusion options, legacy melee options, more romance options. So I guess that kind of takes care of the gameplay. I also wonder though if they're gonna add new places to the region, like Iwatodai, Tatsumi Port Island. Like I wonder if they're gonna incorporate new areas. Because I'm looking at this, again, as a remake, not as a remaster. Like, what I hope this isn't is... well... like, I hope they add enough gameplay stuff that this doesn't feel like... okay, it's not gonna feel like a carbon copy, obviously, because it's on a new engine, but... you know what I'm trying to say? Like, let's make the comparison between Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 4 Remake. Like, there's a lot of different stuff. Like some too much different stuff for some people. Like some people are like, oh, like there's the Crobecat video and everything, and I think that's actually what we're going to expect from this one. Like I feel like the difference is whether it's we'll go over what I'm thinking, but I feel like we can anticipate more than maybe people are thinking in terms of just a carbon copy. Okay, it's in the new engine, a little bit of new voice acting here. A little bit of this there. Like, I feel like we can expect more than that, actually, surprisingly. And so that kind of leads me to my point about story. I wonder if they're going to add characters. I think this is a very low chance. I think this is actually an even lower chance than the same-sex thing. I don't see them adding characters. Because, yeah, I just don't see it. Maybe minor characters. Like, maybe like a minor confidant, right? Like... It's possible that, well, it's not, sort of, right? I was wondering if they were gonna replace one of the less admired social links, being like Kenji or the Moon or somebody, and replace them with a new character. Which, by the way, is what they do with Portable. But that's kind of different because you're playing with a different protagonist. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's entirely going to be the case, if I'm being honest. And also you have to take into consideration too, like if I was kind of thinking about this. One of the big complaints I heard from players was that they were upset when they played Fez. They couldn't have a social link with any of the guys, which I understand, by the way. That kind of sucked. Like you can't have one with Junpei or at least I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you can't. I think it's only with the opposite sex, I think it's only with the girls in that case. But anyway, my point is that how would they do that, right? If they want to introduce more social links, like, yeah, you can have a social link with both Akihiko and Mitsuru in the same playthrough. Like, there's only so many Arcanas, so they'd either have to add more Arcanas or, like, switch them out. And, I mean, it is a remake, so it's not entirely impossible to expect that. But I think that may be asking a little bit too much. We'll see. We'll see, obviously, but, you know, like, somebody should take out a list of all the Arcanas and match them with their current characters, and kind of see what can be mixed, kind of see what can be like almost hybridized, or the fact they'll just introduce new arcanas, because that's what they did in Royal. Faith, La Foi, or whatever the fuck. And then, what was it in... What was, I forget Maruki's Counselor. So, I mean, yeah, I could see that being a possibility for sure. And then, that kind of segues into... Do they actually plan on sticking to the Fez canon? And what I mean by that is, do they intend on keeping the same story? Because, you know, the thing with, I'm specifically talking about Shinji and Portable. The fact that you can technically keep him alive, is it really keeping him alive? I mean, it kind of is, right? I wonder if they're gonna, like, I wonder if they're gonna change anything. Like, I wonder if they're gonna retcon little tiny aspects that maybe, for whatever reason, they think is necessary. I kind of hope they don't. Because I think the Fez story is so raw and so just difficult to compartmentalize emotionally that I really hope they keep it the same. Because if they don't, I mean, it wouldn't be terrible, hopefully, but it's one of those things that I don't think that needs to be the change. Like, I don't think that's where where the changes need to be. Something in my eye. And this is kind of a toss-up, but can we really anticipate just one protagonist? Like, wouldn't it be crazy if they just like threw Kotone in there? They were like, yeah, you know, you can play as Kotone in the remake. So not happening, but that'd be cool, wouldn't it? I mean, that's kind of copium, but I think actually that actually might be a way for them to get around the whole social link thing, because then it could be like, yeah, you can have a social link with Akihiko, and guess what? The only way you can do that is if you play as FMC, and it's like, okay. I mean, that's a good workaround for the whole Arcana shift. But yeah, now I think about it, that wouldn't be. I don't actually think that's the lowest chance of happening. I think sadly the lowest so far what we've talked about, the lowest chance happening is definitely same-sex romance, and probably additional characters. I think those two are not happening, but I think everything else we've talked about is possible at this point. And then little miscellaneous. Do you think they'll include the answer? I think if they were gonna retcon any story part, they might just be like, nope, we're not doing the answer, because the answer is one of those things that I remember when I finished my first playthrough, and people were like, don't play the answer, and I was like, why? I'm sure it's fine. I mean, if you like it, great, good for you, but I was personally not a fan. The, you know, Metis, the Aegis thing. Nothing against Aegis, by the way. I love Aegis. Definitely one of my favorite characters in that specific iteration, but hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully they don't put too much effort into the answer that just kind of and you know, Dorakun, the memes around Dorakun and stuff. Yeah, I'm hoping they just kind of flick that out, hopefully. But that kind of makes me wonder, there were some parts of Portable which I would like to, in terms of gameplay, before I forget, just transfer into the remake. And those were like the Margaret battle. Or not the Margaret battle, but kind of like those you could replay the bosses you faced, right? That was the thing in Portable that wasn't in Fez. I hope they include that, because that would be really fun. You know, just like kind of like an extra little grinding aspect for you to work on. And of course, any changes they make to Tartarus, in terms of hopefully the fast travel system. I wasn't a big fan of the fast travel system, the tiers, where it's like, I don't want them to make it so easy where it's like you can fast travel to any floor you want, but there were some gaps that were so annoyingly big, like 15 levels between teleports. So I'm not sure what they're gonna do there. Maybe like a slight little thing. Maybe they'll add an item or something where it's like, it's maybe. And then also you have to think, P3 was one of I think the only game where kind of you could send your teammates out and let them do whatever the hell they wanted. and they'd find stuff for you, they'd fight battles for you, pretty much like automatic. It's like they took control of themselves. I wonder if they're gonna expand upon that, or if they're just gonna like, nope, that's not happening anymore. It's weird, right? There's so many little things in Fez that just didn't carry over to 4, like it just disappeared. And I don't know if like Atlus is like, yep, we just really don't like those, or if they're gonna be like, we'll stay true to what the original game was and incorporate those in a way that's somewhat good for quality of life, like not total shit. I know that's asking a lot, but whatever. Ugh, get out of my face. And then, let's see. Soundtracks. Well, listening to the soundtrack right now. New songs. I think there's a bigger chance they remaster some songs in terms, or like remix them. Maybe like a remix of Mass Destruction. I hope that's not the case because I love Mass Destruction the way it is, but I think it wouldn't be totally out of the question to say that they might change the battle theme, for example, or maybe change some of the overworld themes. Probably the overworld themes. Those get changed almost automatically, whether it's third semester P5, third semester P4. Obviously they're not adding a new semester. Well, I don't think they are, but if they were going to change anything, I'd say probably that in terms of music. And probably the most, could you really classify this as controversial? Probably. Is Day 1 DLC, because I'm sure everybody remembers the lovely response the community gave Atlus with Soul Hackers 2, and the what, $40 of Day 1 DLC? That was pretty rough. They didn't do that with Royal, but I don't really count that because that's a port. See, this is a brand new game in terms of, well, it's sort of brand new. Like, it's close to brand new. Would you classify Resident Evil 4 Remake as brand new? I mean, not brand new, but like, pretty close. And that's the feeling I'm getting. Like, even look at this clip. Listen. Okay, also, I just want to say, it's happening, okay? It's happening. It's happening. There's no one... The game is coming out, okay? The game is coming out. The game will probably be announced very soon. It's not copium, okay? Atlus didn't accidentally leak this for fun, okay? That's not happening. This isn't fan-made either, by the way. This looks like professional if you looked at the original clip. I'll find the original clip. But it's happening, okay? But so hopefully they don't do Day 1 DLC. I think probably the worst thing they could do is like if they tied someone like, not a story persona. Think of like a really loved persona in P3. You know, it'd be really bad if they took not Orpheus but Messiah. If they put Messiah behind a paywall. I don't think they do that. I really don't think they do that because that's just a horrible thing considering what you have to do to get him in Fez vanilla and Fez by itself. So, I mean, we'll see, right? Because the Steam page is going to come up soon, hopefully. But yeah, it's fun to consider what's going to happen, you know. By the way, the Xbox Showcase is in about 4 or 5 days. 100%. It's at an awful time for me. It's at 2 a.m., but I have to be there for it. I have to. I'm gonna get up at 2 a.m., 1:30, just so I can see it, man, because it's gotta be this one. There's not too many events, and when you look at what Atlus has cooking on their product pipeline, Persona 6, that's not happening anytime soon. I think that's gonna be released in 2025 at the earliest. Maybe 2026, it really depends. And this is going to be kind of the thing to tide us over for the next little bit. Maybe another release of some type. But you know, this is what we can expect. And that's fine with me because I think everybody and their mother has been at least interested in a remake. Maybe not looking forward to it, but at least they want to see what it is. And there's stuff coming out about P5T. I don't know a lot about P5T. I don't think a lot of people know about P5T. You have the gacha Chinese game. I say Chinese because, well, it's my impression it's only in China, but I could be wrong. And like that's about it, really. There's not a lot There's not a lot cooking other than that we're aware of at least, because usually, like this, people can get on top of this pretty fucking quick. And so, who knows though, right? Who knows? It's all conjecture at this point, but you know, it's fun to think about it. It's fun to think about games, what's going to change in the remake, and it's gonna be one of those games that I have high hopes for, but I'm trying to stay somewhat leveled, hopefully. But yeah, it's fun. I love thinking about this type of stuff. I love just talking about it. It's always a good time. So I love to hear your thoughts too on what you think personally is gonna come out of this game. We'll see. We'll see. There's some common grounds I think among the community, but for whatever reason, this game always brings out the worst in us in terms of whether it's clanning about no, it's the best, or no, it's the worst, or it's overrated, it's underrated. There's always some bullshit in this fucking community, man. This community can be toxic sometimes, but you know, that's how it is. So, yeah, this was fun though, and might make some more videos like this in the future. We'll see. We'll see. Until then, though, that's gonna be it for me.